Hello and welcome to my second Unity tutorial. This is Tobias Philipp, and in this session we're gonna make our game scene a bit more pretty. So this time, instead of you guys watching me importing assets from the asset store, I just made a list of the assets I'm gonna import. So let's just quickly go over it. The first one is called Overlord 1.0. This is gonna be our player dummy that we're gonna use. It's got a camera control, it's got a character control, it's got animations even for fighting, and yeah, I think it's just a really good one to get started. The second one, Castle One Light, is just a set of castle parts, including also one whole castle water effects. We're gonna use that for waterfall. I've been talking about day and night cycle. I guess that's self-explaining. And from the terrain assets, we're gonna use some beach textures. So yeah, let's get started. I've got it now all imported. Other than that, I didn't change anything from last tutorial. And the first thing I want to do is just clean up a little bit. So in our hierarchy, I'm going to create an empty object. Click this little gear icon and press reset. So now the empty game object is on 0. I'm going to rename it terrain. And this is going to hold everything that has anything to do with our terrain. So our terrain, obviously, the water cameras, the water itself. Those cameras actually there for the reflection, just in case you wonder. Yeah, that's it for the hierarchy. And our assets in the project view, I'm gonna add a folder called textures, and I'm gonna add the ground textures in here and the outdoor texture pack. Then I create another folder called FX. I'm gonna put day and night cycle in there. And yeah, that's it for now. And yet another folder, objects. And inside of this folder, I'm going to create a new folder called Asset Store. The reason for that is later on in this series, I'm hoping to also create some assets myself. So I just want to keep that separate. And also I want to see potentially just replace assets that I've gotten from the store. Maybe not. So anyways, that's what that folder is for, and here I'm gonna add the castle, the water FX pack, and that's it for now. Yeah. Okay, it's still a bit messy, but it's getting a bit better. And the next thing I want to do, as I promised, we want to get a feeling of how big and how massive this terrain actually is. So I'm going to do this in putting our hero into the scene. So I go to Overlord, Models, Lord Prefab. I just drop him in here. So the first thing we got to do is delete the main camera. We don't need that one anymore. And then open the Lord Prefab. So let me see. Oh yeah, if you click on Overlord, you got see the scripts that are attached, and there's the Overlord control script. And here I'm just gonna change the run speed from, actually I'm just taking normal speed from 2.4. I'm gonna bump it up to 40. Sounds like a good value. Okay, and then we can start the scene. And yeah, there's our fancy hero. If you do right click, you can actually yeah, let him walk around corners. Other than that, I think that's a pretty good character control to start with. We have the sounds, and now we can have a look around. So this is what we created so far, and there are a few things to notice. Later on I want to have a bridge from there to here, and that gap is just a bit too wide, so I want to get this a bit smaller. Another thing I don't like right now is that I cannot see the ocean, so we gotta adjust that on our character. And yeah, just with high speed running from one end to the other end of the plateau takes quite long, which means this is just a really large scale, so we need to change things up a bit to make it a bit more interesting, obviously. Okay, first thing, I want to change the camera settings of our overload. Just set it to the clipping planes, which is another word for saying how far can that guy look. I set it from 1000 to 3000, and if we now look, there's the ocean, beautiful. So that's just what I wanted. And here I'm just gonna get this a bit smaller, the distance. So I go to terrain, use the terrain paint terrain tool, sample the height of the upper plateau, and just add a bit, sample the height of the lower plateau, and just add a bit. Oh yeah, that looks alright. And also, if we want to have a waterfall here on this part, we gotta have this really steep. So I'm gonna sample the bottom here, and my goal is that it is as steep as possible. So you see, slowly getting there. Yeah. Okay, so just need to try it out. Other than that, we're ready now to start with our first asset, or well, we got overload already. I'm gonna start with the castle. So I go to Objects, Asset Store, Castle One Light, Prefabs Castle, and there are different parts of the castle you can use. I'm gonna go for the full castle. It's just easier, faster for the tutorial. So the first thing I noticed, this looks awfully small on this huge plateau. So I'm gonna elevate it a little bit, and need to add some terrain underneath. So the opacity needs to go way down. I just look for something where the castle is underground. Yeah. Now I use again the paint height tool, my favorite tool right now, and sample the height and get this brush smaller, opacity up. So I do not want our plateau, our castle, be facing to the side, so I'm just gonna rotate it. So you can do that if you press on the ladder of the axis, then you get this handle to move things around. I think that's a nice way of doing it manually. So there's our castle. Let's just have a look, quick look in it. Up, and I put him right in. So it's not necessarily pretty. Also still got some glitches there in the terrain. Still need to figure out where they come from and how to get rid of them. Also here in the mesh. So yeah, but this is a castle. And oh, that looks already like something. Okay. The next thing would be the waterfall. So I again navigate to my objects, water FX pack this time, prefabs and waterfall. Just drag it into the scene. And as you can see, it doesn't really match up with what we need. It's rotated the wrong way around the y-axis, so I'm gonna flip it around 180 degrees, and I'm just gonna move it up here, up on top, and just roughly get it aligned with the edge of that mountain. So now scaling it on the x-axis makes it wider. So yeah, something like that should be okay. And on the y-axis, well, I'm gonna get it longer. Need to pull it out of the mountain. And there's our waterfall. But yeah, as we can see the preview already, this is just the background. The actual particles are not stretching with our scaling. So we need to choose the FX waterfall big foam and add some energy to it. So I'm just gonna start with 9, and you can see since I increased it, it's just slowly moving down. Okay, that's it already. I need way more, so let's go for something bigger. 14 just takes a while, so I'm gonna increase that value as well. And another value we need to change is the ellipsoid x value. So that was still not enough, so I move it from 14 to 16. This is also not yet enough. So you can see that this doesn't match our scale on the x and the y axis at all. So it's really a trial and error process. I'm happy now with the energy level, and on the x-axis yeah, it can actually be a bit more on the sides. That's okay. Yeah, I think that looks okay. And now we still have the big mist here in the bottom. I'll pull it up a bit so you can see that here. I'm also gonna add a little more on the energy level here, and I'm gonna duplicate this one with Ctrl D. Like you click on it, press Ctrl D, and you got a duplicate. Pull this right up on the level of the plateaus. So yeah, something like that. And maybe even increase it a bit more. Of course, we also need some water in the bottom. For that, I'm gonna use again the standard assets environment water 4 prefabs water for advanced. Gonna pull it in here, scale it up 2 on the X, 2 on the Z axis, and yeah, pull it up whatever, like so. Pull it out as far as possible, and there we have some water. And the waterfall still has this foam on the bottom, so this one we just need to pull out. It's also a particle effect and gives those ripples on the water. So I just need to make sure that this is actually above the surface. So I think that looks all right. Pull it out a bit, and also gonna add a little, oh, that was too much, a little more energy. So there we go. Just gonna have a quick look. Oh, our hero's still caught in the castle. So the problem is with this particle effect, I don't know yet how to load it, so you can see like the water coming down, but yeah, that shouldn't bother us right now. Yeah, it looks almost good. Could be even a bit more mist, and here on the bottom it could spread out a bit nicer. So let me just adjust this. I'm gonna go to 12 on the mist, both of them, and on the bottom I'm gonna pull it up a bit. I've got to move the dude out of the castle. Here we see again the water coming down. Would be scary to be standing down here right now. Yeah, still not quite what I'm looking for, but yeah, I'm gonna adjust later more. And there we are underwater. Great. That's our waterfall. The next thing I want to do is to add a day and night cycle. Or actually, let me first clean up a little bit. Create game object. I'm gonna call this player. And always reset all the prefabs in the scene, game objects I mean, and then all the moving and everything works a bit better. So there he is. Okay. And the waterfall and the water, of course, are part of the terrain. The castle is gonna stand here. So what I'm gonna do here is just create another empty called castle. And I'm gonna first pull it in as child object to the full castle game object. I'm gonna reset it, pull it out again. Gonna reset the scale of it, and actually that's not actually fully what I wanted. How do I do that? Okay, I just reset that. Add our castle. No. Okay, never mind. I'll leave it as that. What I want to do with that though is I have here game object what holds all the elements from this area. Just to have a bit of order in my hierarchy. So the next thing, as I said, is going to be the day and night cycle. So navigate to FX, day and night cycle, prefabs, and this is just one beautiful prefab. One nice asset from the asset store, really. I like it a lot. We're going to use the day and night cycle for small maps. I tried the other one, didn't work that well, so gonna go for this one. And yeah, let's start with that one. So what it is really is just, as we scale it up, a massive sphere, or yeah, ball actually, that holds the clouds and the stars and everything. Like, it's quite cool. I like it a lot. And yeah, just wanna do it in a way so it is not touching our terrain, yet it cannot be too big, because if it is too large, then our hero will not see any of it. So that would not be helpful either. But I think this one should be fine. What we need to do is delete our directional light. I don't need that one anymore. And now there's still some things we gotta change with our player. And we need to add this camera rig in here. So I'm gonna disable the main camera, and there's now some changes we need to make. First of all, we need to take the camera root script from our main camera and click on it and pull it on our camera rig. So that just takes the script with all the settings and places it on here. It's quite a handy way to move scripts around. So all the settings are fine. And now what we have here is one camera for our character. That's the normal camera, and one render cam, which is gonna render this entire cloud and sky system. I want both of them to see a bit more than 1000 units. Let's bump it up to 3000. And on our overload, we have the control script asking for a camera. So here we're gonna use the camera rig instead. Main camera still disabled. So let's have a look. Beautiful. You can see the clouds, sun rising. It's of course now in a really short time happening, everything. We're gonna stretch that later, but for now it's just nice to see the whole full cycle, and it really does give our terrain a whole different feeling. And there the sun goes down, and we get our red evening sky and stars coming out. There's the moon. The moon is hiding because it's a bit further away than everything else. So for now I'm just gonna take the moon out, I think. Just disable it. I'll look later into how to do that. how to deal with it. Okay, that's quite pretty. Just need to quickly check if our control is still working as I walk. Our overlord is turning around. Great. Okay. The last thing I want to do in this session is create a little beach area here. And first we need to sculpt the terrain a bit. I'm going to use a soft brush. Yeah, a bit larger brush size. And gonna just very quickly create a little island here. 2 little islands. Whatever. And so you gotta remember this looks now fairly small, but if our hero will jump around here, that's actually quite big again. Just need to get the back side of it. That's too small. Of course, islands with straight edges are not so common, as far as I know. So that's just really quickly done. Just add a bit back, because this edge is quite steep, I think. But yeah, that mustn't. I actually can just change that with using the softener. Smooth height, that's how you call it. Okay, so I'm just gonna smooth out those edges a bit. Okay, that's all I want to do with that, and now we're gonna add some more textures. I'm gonna use the terrain asset textures. They don't have a normal map, but that's the only beach textures I could think of right now. So 3 should be plenty. I'm just gonna do this really quick. So to speak, brush over it. Oh, look at that. And I'm going to use this to switch things up a bit. Sorry, there was a short break. So yeah, I'm doing this, randomizing it a bit, not really detailed, thought through, but it'll do for what I needed to. So just on the edges, I want some bit of wet sand. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. And of course, we still, for a beach island, we need some palm trees. So we're gonna add our first tree. So move to terrain, place trees. And we don't have any tree defined yet. If you add a tree, you're actually not adding a texture, but a game object. And our terrain assets come with a few trees that we can use. So I'm going to use the palm group for this one. Leave the bend factor for now at 0. And here we have the palm tree. There's still one thing we need to do first. The scale factor is at 0.01. That's not very helpful because that would make really tiny trees. We wouldn't want that. And need to apply. And now we can place the trees. I don't want them too dense, but I want the height range a bit larger. So basically what it does is you get trees in the height between this value and this value. Density just says how dense they are, and that is actually not dependent on your brush size. So I could crank it up to the top if my brush is on the same size, then I would get more, and if I move it all down, leave the brush size at the same size, then yeah, I would get less trees, obviously. So again, this will not be amazingly thought through. A bit too many. So the problem we still have with our trees is that actually somehow there's something wrong with the order of the rendering. So if the trees are displayed as billboard, means you see a 2D texture from afar, then the water is actually, yeah, I guess you can see that the water is actually overlapping our trees. So we still gotta fix that. I don't fully know how actually. One thing we can do for now, which is now still possible since our scene is not that full yet, is we can say in terrain settings that the billboard start is at a higher distance. Like I guess if this would be like 500, then not 5,500, then you wouldn't fully see anymore that. I mean, you still can see it, but once that game world is better populated, you would not see it anymore, that the trees are hiding behind the water. So this is, for now, our fix. So as our hero comes in close, it should look nice. Just gonna have a short test run with our very speedy warrior. And there it is. Yeah, we can see the water overlapping, but here it stops already, so that's quite nice. And it looks alright, quite beautiful. Yeah, I can live with that. Okay, so this is it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial we're gonna add some more assets once more and gonna create a little village here. Probably need to resize this plateau as well, and yeah, we'll see how that works out. So thanks for watching and see you next time.